I'm interested in taking a neutral position, such as purchasing both put and a call after a short period of time. One side positive and the other side negative. Lock in the positive side and make a credit spread on the negative side to bring the negative side closer to break even. Okay. So, purchasing both the call and a put, and then lock in the positive gain and convert the other to a debit or credit spread. Now, I do something a little bit different that we've talked about on YouTube. And it's I think it's in this one, Market Hedges is an approach to VIX. That's an approach to VIX, but let me take a look at the full playlist here. I tend to use something that you referenced, call it a long straddle or a long strangle. What I'm doing is buying an out of the money call and out of the money put on one of the broad-based ETFs when I start seeing the sell warnings, if I'm not using VIX calls. And hedges other than gold or silver, we discuss it there. Comparing stock hedge strategies, it's there. This one compares a bear put debit on SPY or QQQ as a market hedge, as opposed to the strangle idea, VIX calls, just buying a put straight outright. And of course, it all depends on the movement you're expecting. So where I'm going with that, what I do in those positions, let's just go to the profit and loss chart or custom spread tool. Sorry, folks. Now, let's just take SPY and view options. This worked very well for me in volatile market conditions. Now, if I was buying one today with today's movements, I'd probably be here 45 to usually 75 days out in time. So I'm going to be July 31st, weekly, quarterly expiration, or August 21st. And sorry, what I would usually typically do, I use an out of the money strangle, buy, call, buy, put on SPY, sometimes QQQ. I have never really done this on the Russell. And these actually look with the way volatility is moving. But what I usually look for, I'm just going to use a 725 strike. And let's go 750, 760. Let's go 760. Okay. And so what I tend to do in these scenarios, you can see more about this on the different videos there in that playlist section, Market Hedges and Discussions. But I call it, it's not really called anything, but I like to refer to it as the Rolling Strangle. So I'm 49 days out in time. You had mentioned taking neutral position, purchasing both a call and a put. And then after a short period of time, one side positive and the other negative. Okay. And so in this case, if we had done a strangle on SPY on Wednesday, we probably would have been at these lower strikes around 730, probably 700 for the put, 730 for the call. And now that it's moved up here, what I commonly will do, Sumner, you're saying you're going to take off the profit side. All right, so I'm going to sell the call here. We bought it at 896. It moves up. Let's say now it's at 12, and this dropped down to 750. All right, so my bull put's losing. That's great. What are you going to do? You're going to take the profit off of this one and close it out. Made about $3 here, so that's going to lower your purchase put to 7. So you've got a long put floating around at $7. And now you're going to say, okay, well, the stock's at 74,175. I know we use different numbers, but this is just the example. We're going to do another contract here for that same expiration. Yeah, I used July 31st, right? Yes, I did. Okay. It's that same expiration. Now with our 725 put floating out there, let me sell a 735 put and create a bull put credit spread on the position. Now, I like this idea. I like this idea because what you're really running into now is a very high percentage return. Why? Because you pocketed that $3 or $4 from the long call. You've lowered the cost basis down here, and you're still getting about $13 at the 735 strike. You're getting a total net credit of $597 on a requirement of $403 because it's a 10-point spread, but you only got a cost basis of $403 factoring in that profit. And it looks really, really nice. But the way the market's been moving, you got to be kind of careful, because I'm not saying we've rounded the corner yet, and I know what you're saying too. Yeah, if you had the 725 put, like the 730 or maybe even just the 726, 727 might have been a better choice. You want to keep a reasonable probability. And this 735 put we have is probably only around 60, 65% probability, especially with recent movements in the market. Let me just go to the options research tool, check my probability. Oh, it's less than I thought. It's only 56.2%. Yeah, so we'd be at a much lower price, but it's a good approach. I like it, but just the way the market has been volatile recently, I'd be hesitant of those changes. I mean, if we get a little bit closer to, and of course, I wouldn't be using the strike. I know you wouldn't be using the strike, Sumner. That 56 probability is way too low. We want to be in that 70, 75. I prefer 80 to 85% probability above converting into a bull put credit spread at this time, or the reverse, of course, the bear call credit spread if we were selling new call after selling the close, our profitable put, and converting the losing call side into that bear call credit spread. I get it. But, going back to where we were, which of course I mentioned, it was the 725, and I think I said the 759, 760. I used a 760. And so, no, your approach is good. I like it. And especially, when the downside, when the market falls, your call is losing and your put's gaining, that means implied volatility is increasing. So you're probably going to get some more premium for the sold call that you're using, playing a volatility game too. But with these swings, you got to be careful. Let's go back to our original long strangle position. I know it's not the ones I'm in. I could use the historical tools. Oh, and I got to remember, Mike, we were at 10.06 here, right? That was the original price before we took in the $3 profit. Or is it 12? I'll just put 10 for now. That's fine. The original price there, 10.06. And okay. So in this case, what I tend to do when we're in volatile market conditions, when we went through the Powell market, the rate increase hikes, talk of the decreases, he'd say what they were going to do on Wednesday. He did it. He said what he was going to do, and the market dropped because of the interest rates and the market fear from that, inflation fears as well. They did it Thursday morning, and it went back half of what it had given up, or gave up half of what it had gained or more the day before. As he says it, the market reacts. He does it, and just sloughs it off and goes back the other way. So this is what I would do in those scenarios with the long strangles, similar to what you did. And we were talking about in your position, if it had moved up to this call side here, we've got profit on the calls, $3, $4, maybe close to 40, 50% profit on this one, but we're losing on the put, of course. Sell to close this and create that bull put credit spread we just saw by selling a higher strike put against the put you're still holding that's down in price. In the more volatile market conditions, and this worked well naturally, of course, from February also to May and into June, with everything that was going on globally, geopolitically, gas prices, everything along those lines. When it moved up and one of my options was profitable, I sold both options, or technically rolled Sumner both options, and now I'd create a new strangle with about a 0.3 delta away from the current stock price. And then, of course, news comes out and it swings down. We're profitable on the put, but we were profitable on the whole strangle. We move back down, take the profit off that, and move back down to another strangle. If it continues down, hey, we still see profit. But if it moves back up, I'm just rolling the strangle back and forth, not collecting premium. I'm paying out, but I'm taking profits, as you are, off of each one. So that's another approach to do it. But I like your idea. I'm a fan of it. I just worried in those more volatile conditions that I'm referring to, where this worked for me, from February-ish, mid-February to about, it would have worked recently too, but it was more daily watching. Recently, Sumner is tougher to follow in that case. So, and so that's where I'm going. So you just commented, well, what concept is missing regarding this overall approach? Is that, yes, I'm basically wanting to not have a predetermined direction. And that's what I'm doing with my rolling strangles, quote unquote, as well, Sumner, because I don't have a direction. I have uncertainty. And when I can take time, I can take profit, and cut down my risk exposure and move the strangle up and down. Eventually, each time, I'm taking the right profits to lower my no man's land, right? I'm still uncertain about the market conditions. And that's why I say, doing the directional, once I close that call, the profitable call, let's say, and I'm left with the long put, and then I sell the new put you mentioned against it, I am taking a directional bet. I'd be very confident that I've got the probability I want here at my pivot option, the sold option. I want to be in that 75, 80, 85% range, probability above. And yeah, as you mentioned, I think keep it shorter term. You said you're going to adjust it in a shorter term. You might want that sell option to be shorter term to not give it more time to go against you. You might be creating a calendar put spread depending on how far out your initial strangle or straddle was, as opposed to a bull put credit spread. I see that. Yeah, you're basically wanting to not have a predetermined direction. Absolutely. And that's how I use my long strangles. But as you can all see, it's not capital intensive, but it's cost intensive. I'm not generating any premium against those. The premium I'm generating is based on the profit I'm taking from one side or the other. And at the same time, I should also mention this, that long strangle that I'm referring to that I use here, the rolling long strangle that I use here, is not a large portion of my portfolio at all. This is a secondary hedge I use in addition to sometimes VIX calls, and as I mentioned, uncertain markets. It's really where the bull put credit spreads represent 15% of my account. This hedge might only be 4, 5, or 6% of my account, and it's only designed to help hedge the sudden unexpected movements that might take 33, 40, 45% out of the bull put credit spreads I have in a near black swan event. It's acting as an additional hedge in addition to this position sizing I'm using with that portion of my portfolio. Like the collar spreads and the Mary puts I have in my portfolio, I'm not really worried about those. They're already hedged. Long-term calendar spreads, calendar calls, and sometimes double diagonals, they're also set up for proper position sizing, but they are leveraged. So this helps with that too. The profits taken from these sharp movements in the market are helping offset any losses that I may realize or may take on those leverage positions, directional positions that I mentioned, such as the calendar spreads, bull put credit spreads with 15% of my portfolio, specifically Sumner, and others that I may have in play. But I like the idea. It's an interesting move. It has value. And another approach here is the strangle, but yeah. And of course, yeah, in the movements, you're going to have volatility, flux, but that's okay. Using it on SPY, QQQ, even if you're not doing it that way, but that kind of approach here with the lower volatility, as you mentioned, lower cost into the strangle initially, not as much expected movement on some of those broader based securities. You might want a little bit of volatility, though, for the movement you're looking for, and also a little bit of volatility for the premium that you might want to see positions in those positions. I'm sorry, Sumner, when you do perhaps enter them as the sell option after you've taken profit off of the long leg that you close in the initial strangle or straddle position.